mistakes. I know. But again, let's give them a chance to redeem themselves. Okay? I know I'm the same. That's right. How you, sir? Bless.
How you doing, sir? How you doing, sir? All right.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Hey, how you doing? Very good to be with you.
Right. The human beings. The inner being. Right? Human beings.
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay.
Well, when you're talking now.
Evan, how you been doing?
I just feel like I'm
You about to fall off? No, you can pump up.
I told him about last week.
We tried, sir.
I told him about last week. He was there.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
Lori Jones, and I saw you kids all mine, so I said, I'm gonna give him, I don't think he has a copy. Yes, sir. They won't appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir.
Hike your leg up there so we can see you stop.
Oh.
I don't know, I'm still agreeing that he might be a little sensitive.
Something like that.
Yeah, what I was explaining to her was, we all need to get on the same page. Because at the end of the day, that's who you represent, is paying the bills when things go bad.
Good evening. I'd like to call this Charleston County Council meeting 6:30 Tuesday, April 4th, Council meeting to order. We're going to start with recognitions and resolutions.
In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meetings was posted and agendas were distributed to news media and persons requesting notification. And council members, if I can remind you to turn your microphones on when you need to talk so that the audience can hear us and the sound goes through on our recording.
Move approval. Second. Commendations to the clerk and her staff. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Recognitions and resolutions, 3A.
Move to approve 3A through F.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Reverend Middleton and Mr. Moody. Number 3A, honoring Chief Larry Garvin's retirement. Joe Boykin.
Yes, sir.
And Chief Garvin.
Yeah, Chief Garvin, I'm sorry, Chief Garvin and Joe Boykin.
Yes, sir. That's okay. It's my bad handwriting.
Proclamation of the Charleston County Council honoring Chief Larry Garvin Sr. Whereas
Thank you, Chief, for a job well done. Next is members of the Jewish community, please come forward for a Holocaust commemoration resolution.
A resolution of Charleston County Council proclaiming the days of remembrance in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. Whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored systematic persecution and annihilation of European Jewry by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945. And whereas we remember with sadness the 11 million people, including 6 million Jews, who were victims of Hitler's final solution, along with those who were persecuted for their religious and political beliefs, sexual orientation, and physical disabilities. And whereas we remember with admiration the resistors and rescuers, known and unknown, who risked and lost their lives to save others. And whereas we remember with respect the survivors who escaped, were sheltered, or who were freed and who lived to contribute so much to our community and to our world. And whereas the history of the Holocaust offers an opportunity to reflect on the moral responsibilities of individual societies and governments. And whereas we have an obligation to ensure that the memory and legacy of lives lost forever or forever changed in this horrific event are not forgotten. And whereas we remember and honor the liberators which liberated the World War II concentration camps 78 years ago. And now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council does hereby pledge today to firmly commit ourselves to never again and to work to promote human dignity by confronting intolerance and hate whenever and wherever it occurs. Be it further resolved that Charleston County Council, pursuant to an act of Congress and United States Holocaust Memorial Council, does hereby proclaim the week of Tuesday, April 18th through Sunday, April 23rd, as Week of Remembrance in memory of the victims, survivors, rescuers, and liberators of the Holocaust, and encourages citizens to join the community-wide Yom HaShoah Holocaust Remembrance Program on Sunday, April 23rd at 2:00 p.m., held downtown at the Gaillard Center. This year's theme is Through Their Voices, Stories of Survival, carried on from generation to generation, and will display the importance of action through generational remembrance. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Thank y'all. Just have a short statement to read. My name is Brandon Fish. Good evening, Council. I'm the Director of Community Relations for the Charleston Jewish Federation, and I'm joined by Scott Rittenbaum, who's the Executive Director of Jewish Family Services, which works closely with Holocaust survivors in our area, and Fred Volkman, who's the Chair of our Remember Program Committee, and the Child of Survivors, who tells the story in schools across Charleston County. I work closely with the Remember Program, which consists of Holocaust survivors, their descendants, educators, and concerned citizens. The Remember Program for Holocaust Education and Genocide Awareness educates and builds community among all races, faiths, and ethnicities in Charleston and inspires citizens to stand against hate, bias, and anti-Semitism. The Remember Program would like to personally invite all of you to the community-wide Holocaust Remembrance Program held at the Gaillard Center in downtown Charleston on April 23rd at 2 p.m. Thank you all for committing to Holocaust education and awareness as a community. If the council members have a yellow candle, then I'd like to share that the yellow candle was created to keep alive the memory of the 6 million who perished in the Shoah. The candle is modeled after a traditional Jewish memorial yahrzeit candle that burns for 24 hours during periods of mourning and on the yahrzeit anniversary of a family member who's passed. The candle's yellow wax reminds us of the yellow armband that Jews were forced to wear during the Nazi regime. As we light this yellow candle, we vow never to forget the lives of the men, women, and children symbolized by the flame. Thank y'all very much.
Chair, unlike other resolutions where we would applaud, I think we should still stand in solidarity and just have a moment of silence maybe in this time.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, 3C. Orange Grove Middle School Robotics Team, Resolution and Funding. Mr. Moody, Mr. Pryor, and the robotics team. Y'all all come down here. Here you go, Brandon. So many there.
Y'all want to hat this way, hat this way, hat this way. And the clerk is going to, there's comes one, and our clerk is going to read the Charleston County Council resolution that was just approved.
A resolution of Charleston County Council honoring the accomplishments of the 2022-2023 Orange Grove Charter School First Tech Challenge Team. Whereas from time to time, Charleston County Council has the privilege of recognizing individuals in this community who exemplify commitment, determination, dedication, and excellence. And whereas the 2022-2023 Orange Grove Charter School First Tech Challenge Team has exhibited all these characteristics as they were challenged all season to design, build, program, and operate robots in order to compete in head-to-head challenges in an alliance format, and were selected as the 2023 Inspire Award winner at the state championships. And whereas this top award is given out to all the best all-around team in the categories of design, promote, connect, innovate, think, control, and motivate, and qualifies them to attend the World Championship in Houston, Texas. And whereas this team of champions is comprised of Sage Thacker, Will Fair, Carl Fair, Mary Grace Childress, Emily Daniels, Zoe Annabelle, Zach Annabelle, Eva Awater, Henry Budolph, Evan Ferdaragos, Riley Adams, and Cora Wilson. And whereas the stellar team is led by head coach Michelle Coman, assistant coach Andrea Daniels, assistant coach Carl Fair, lead mentor Amanda Fair, and supported by Orange Grove Charter School's Chief Executive Operations John Clendaniel and Principal Steve Schoenfeld. Now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council is proud to congratulate these winners of the First Tech Challenge Team of Orange Grove Charter School for their spectacular achievement and wish them well as they compete for the World Championship. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Safs III, Chairman.
Council is pleased to help offer this small amount of money to help defray some of the cost of your expenses, and we will watch very carefully how you all do. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. And Council, I'd like to thank you very much for investing in the youth of my team. I'm very proud of these 12 members of this team. This is our third year competing in the First Tech Challenge. I have students that are from 7th grade till 10th grade. We are a middle school. We go up to 8th grade, but we are very honored to have 3 high school students who are alums of our middle school. They actually went the whole way through our elementary and middle school, and they have chose to remain with our team and work as perfect mentors for the younger members of my team, and also, of course, to provide their expertise to the team. So again, Council, I really would like to thank you for recognizing my team's accomplishment. We hope to represent South Carolina and make everybody proud. And again, thank you, each and every one of you.
also, one last thank you to Mr. Pryor for recommending we bump the number up a little bit, too. That was awful nice.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great trip.
Another vote.
Okay, we'll go up to Ann.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, next item. Telecommunicator Week Resolution. Jim Lake.
A resolution of Charleston County Council honoring our public safety telecommunicators and recognizing April 9th through 15th, 2023 as Public Safety Telecommunicator Week. Whereas 911 is nationally recognized as the number to call in an emergency to receive immediate help from law enforcement, fire, EMS, or other appropriate emergency response entities. And whereas our public safety telecommunicators are the first responders, gathering critical information, providing life-saving instruction, and comforting callers in their time of need. And whereas our public safety telecommunicators serve as a lifeline for 41 law enforcement, fire, rescue, emergency medical service, and emergency management agencies. And whereas we recognize that their jobs answering 911 calls and dispatching emergency response units are among the toughest of public service jobs, require enormous personal dedication, ongoing training, and professional skill. And whereas the skills of the public safety telecommunicators continue to evolve as our 911 center uses next generation 911 operations and technology that includes highly accurate location information for callers and responders, crowdsourced data providing live-time situational awareness, and enhanced geographical information. And whereas due to the performance of our public safety telecommunicators, our center is accredited by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies and the International Academies of Emergency Dispatch. And whereas our public safety telecommunicators have faced extremely difficult circumstances due to staffing shortages. And whereas Charleston County Council is proud of the dedication and professionalism of our public safety telecommunicators and the ongoing public safety awareness events which teach the importance and proper use of 911. And whereas Charleston County recognizes our public safety telecommunicators as first responders who make life and death decisions in a stressful environment to aid those in need and support our public safety responders. Now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council honors our public safety telecommunicators and recognizes April 9th through 15th as Public Safety Telecommunicator Week in Charleston County. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. Y'all do a great job. You want to say anything? No, sir. We're good. Okay. Next item, Community Development Block Grant Week Resolution. Luella Smalls.
A resolution of Charleston County Council, whereas the Community Development Block Grant Program has operated since 1975 to provide local governments with the resources required to meet the needs of persons of low and moderate income. And CDBG funds are used by thousands of neighborhood-based nonprofit organizations throughout the nation to address pressing neighborhood and human services needs. And whereas the Community Development Block Grant Program has had a significant impact on our local economies through job creation, physical redevelopment, and improved local tax bases. And whereas Charleston County and other local governments have clearly demonstrated the capacity to administer and customize the CDBG program to identify and resolve pressing local problems such as affordable housing, neighborhood and public service needs, job creation and retention, and physical redevelopment. Now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council does hereby proclaim the week of April 10th through 14th, 2023, as Community Development Week in Charleston County, and urges all citizens to join in recognizing the Community Development Program of Charleston County and its importance to our community. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Smalls, and your crowd, my people that work, but don't go anywhere, because you get another award right after this one.
A resolution of Charleston County Council, whereas HUD-funded grant recipients are obligated under various laws and regulations not to discriminate in housing or services directly or indirectly on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, familial status, or disability, and provide equal access without regard to actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity, or marital status. And whereas fair housing and fair housing choice is generally defined as the ability of people with similar incomes to have similar access to housing. And whereas fair housing is an issue of affordable housing in our cities and rural areas and continues to be a problem for many families of all races and the young and the elderly. And whereas Charleston County reaffirms its policy to ensure equal opportunity for all persons without regard to race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, marital status, age, or disability. And whereas fair housing provides an effective planning approach to aid participants in taking meaningful actions to overcome historic patterns of segregation, promote fair housing choice, and foster inclusive communities that are free from discrimination. Now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council does hereby proclaim April 2023 as Fair Housing Month in Charleston County and urges all citizens of Charleston County to join in this effort to reaffirm fair housing opportunities for all people and to practice the letter and spirit of the Fair Housing Law. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Well, and Gail, thank y'all so much for what you do. Do you want to say anything? Y'all do a great job. Not that we've asked you to do an awful lot last year. There's a lot of new things that we started doing we weren't doing before. Y'all took care of a lot of things, so we really appreciate everything y'all do. And you're still doing it. Okay, a little cleanup item here. We've just given these recognitions and resolutions, and I know that they were moved and seconded, but I don't believe I called for a vote, so let's call for a vote for the recognitions we just had. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this point, we're gonna disband county council for public comments. And after public comments, we will reconvene county council and we'll have our prayer and pledge of allegiance at that time. Thank you. So public comments.
Anthony G. Bryant, followed by, sorry, I cannot read this name. The address is 16 Franklin Street.
My extensions to Brother Moody go way back, so last time we was here, we was dealing with some parliamentary concerns and whatnot. But I'm here tonight because I give you notice, I made public comment to the White House Partnership on Faith-Based Organizations and Neighborhoods in partnership with the Department of Justice components, Homeland Security, HUD, around the nation. In terms of the impacts of the National Association of Police and State Troopers, Mission on Law Enforcement Agency, Inc., which encompasses 18,000 departments, 600,000 offices, and the impact, the 1994 crime bill, 86 crime bill, 70 crime bill on, by and large, black males. And it closed on March the 14th. I worked on it for the past 4 years. Going to federal court on just review, the expense of the cost somebody to go through federal court and state court is expensive. And therefore, if you make under $60,000 in Charleston, you might be at-risk homeless, unhoused, or chronically unhoused, if you're under $60,000. And that's the magic number. That's the magic number. 3 is the magic number. 60,000 is the magic number. And we can't dance around that number. That number is real. And if your young person don't have the skill set and talent in this area, they will be homeless. they will be living on the park. We're in New York now. It's real. And so I don't come before the body council for the group or direct lobbyists as an individual to see suffering of people in my community. And therefore I have an obligation to be a man and be criticized by those who are not uncomfortable. You're comfortable. You go into your nice house and your family, you go and play golf, wherever, but some people gonna have to sleep on the golf course, okay? So at the end of the day, is Charleston gonna become New York City? We just accept people who work 2 jobs and don't have a place to stay? They're working people. They're not people that just trifling and don't care about life. We have a fiduciary responsibility to our conscience, our religious and faith system, but our conscience do the right thing. Have a nice evening.
So I realize this is Coach Lewis, so Tony Lewis followed by A.D. Jordan.
Good evening, council. Thank y'all for having me. I'm here in support of Charleston County Sheriff Graziano and medical situation over there. As I was talking to some of the council members, you know, when your voters put you here, they put you here to do their bidding, okay? Not what we want to do selfishly, but unselfishly, meaning you're doing what the voters put you here to do. So Sheriff Graziano is asking you guys to just work with her, give her the opportunity, give her the resources that she can do her job well. Because when the voters give you their task and they vote, they put you to do their job well. So again, I'm here just in support of her because again, she's trying to do something to help our inmates, and she called them residents, inmates, to be better folks and to become productive citizens back in our society. And meaning, you know, when we get sick, we go to the doctor. So they are human beings too. Yeah, they made mistakes, but let's help them redeem themselves from the mistakes they made to become back in society's productive citizens and leaders. And I'm asking you guys, does inmates' lives matter? Okay, so that's all the sheriff wants you guys to do, to work with her. Let's work together. Because again, they're taxpayers too, you know, and they don't write. And they want to be productive citizens again in society. Because I used to go in there myself and register them to vote. See, everybody don't know that. Yeah. And vote who was about to come out there and who didn't have a serious crime. So again, let's think about that, y'all. And give her the tools and resources she needs. Okay? Let's work with her, not against her. Because then you wouldn't have no negative things coming out about Charleston County detention, because guess what? That's under y'all leadership. When come out about her, then it's talking to you guys, you know, all y'all. So I thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
A.D. Jordan, followed by Michael German.
Good evening. A.D. Jordan from North Charleston. I've come before you tonight to say thank you. Thank you to Councilman Pryor for nominating me to be on your zoning board of appeals. To each of you that voted for that nomination, I appreciate that also. I want to say thank you. It's an honor that I appreciate. It's an honor I'll take serious. It's an honor I'll do my best not to let you down. But I also want to say thank you all for another reason. Thank you for your willingness to serve in public office. I happen to know a little bit about that because I one time was on this board, and I know what it's like to run an election, to win one, to serve, to make those tough choices, and what sometimes your families go through in today's world. But most of all, I know what it's like to retire from it. So I thank you for your service. You have my respect. You have my prayers. I'm proud of you. And I just appreciate you giving me another chance to serve the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Michael German, followed by Jacqueline Brown.
Michael German, 1707 Snowden Road, Snowden, South Carolina. Good evening. Once again, I'm here to talk about the sewer connection. But this time it appears that we're doing great work moving forward with that. Mrs. Smalls and her team have past couple of weeks have done an excellent job in terms of getting those individual in close proximity qualified under the low to moderate income guidelines. We still have a ways to go. Hopefully, we can get this resolved shortly so we can get those people connected. But more importantly, the county have said we've got this $4 million for the infrastructure to complete the sewer project in Snowden. And I am hopeful that in the near future, we can make a decision to move forward with what we got to start the project and not wait for funds that we're hopeful in terms of getting. We got enough to get started, and I hope that you would take that in consideration in moving this project forward without any more delays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jacqueline Brown, followed by Trenum Walker.
Good evening. I'm Jacqueline Brown. I reside at 1805 Snowden Road. I'm pleasant in the Snowden community. First, I want to say, I think it was 2016, we started this with the sewer company. It's been a long, drawn-out thing, and I'm tired. But here, I want to say thank you to Charleston County for allowing us to come here and for you to help us along the way. We have been fighting with Time Unpleasant, Waterworks for so long, and I don't understand why. You know, we want what we were told we were going to get, sewer, for our entire community, and that didn't happen. And I'm just so grateful that we can come here and talk to you guys and for you guys to help us out. So I'm just asking you to continue to work with us so that we may get what we was deserved like 20 years, 30 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
And the last speaker is Trenum Walker.
Trenum Walker, 66 Hazel Street. I'm here on behalf of Andale West. I'm here to thank the Planning and Public Works Committee for forwarding to council a recommendation to waive the one-year sit-out. I want you to know that the reason we had to request that is that we've worked over the last 6 months to get the alignment with Freshfields, and now we've reached an agreement, so there'll be 2, maybe 3 connection points, and that's going to require that the property be redrawn with a new plat, and we have to go back to go, but nothing's changing in the project, so that's the reason. Last thing I want to say is nothing to do about it, and that is, you know, it's really hard to find things to have hope about, and I was here for the recommendations and commendations. Wow, I feel so much better. I have some hope. I see those young people here and the other people that are given so much. So I thank council for doing that and letting the people in this community know that others, many, are doing so much service for the public good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to reconvene County Council through item 7. Mr. Moody, would you give us a prayer? And Mr. Guile, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
You can do it.
We bow our heads. Lord, take my lips and speak through them. Take our thoughts and think through them. Take our hearts and set them on fire for you. Unless you speak, nothing of substance is spoken. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing this community together. We thank you for the wonderful, bright kids that were here that are the future. We thank you for meaningful holiday seasons coming up here as we reflect of Passover and the Holy Week. We ask that you bless this council and our decisions and to bring everybody back here safely next time. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Item number 4, second reading ordinance, West Charleston Business Center.
An ordinance amending the West Charleston Business Center Plan Development Zoning District PD 24B to West Charleston Business Center Plan Development Zoning District PD 24C. Mr. Boykin?
Aye.
Mr. Darby? Mr. Kabrowski? Mr. Middleton?
Aye.
Mr. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor?
Aye.
Mr. Werman?
Aye.
Mr. Sass?
Aye.
Ordinance passes second reading with 8 ayes and 1 absent.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval on items 5A through C.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. Seconded by Reverend Middleton. Consent agenda, FY '24 CHAC, DHAC grant applications, amendment to license agreement for operation of ATMs and code enforcement officer. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank y'all. Item number 6. Move for approval on A and B.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pryor, seconded by Mr. Moody. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Second.
Aye.
Opposed?
Seconded by Mr. Boykin.
Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Boykin, I'm sorry. So we did vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Number 7, Finance Committee recommendations.
Move to approve 7A, B, C.
Is there a second? Second. Moved by Reverend Middleton, seconded by Mr. Pryor for 7B, A, B, and C. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 7D.
Mr. Chair, move for committee recommendation.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Boykin and seconded by Mr. Moody. Is there any discussion? Mr. Moody?
Yeah, I want to thank our administrator and especially our legal staff for their professionalism throughout this process. We were privy to the long process that's going on, but Coach Lewis, I think, mentioned it. I think might be good to have a 2-minute, 3-minute summary of what this process looks like from the administrator or Mr. Tolbert or somebody to let them know what has all gone into this. That this is not something we can just turn on and off.
Thank you, Mr. Tolbert.
Good afternoon. Before you is the inmate medical contract for approval. The process actually started May of last year, where we met with the Sheriff Department, explained the process and what needed to be done. We gave them the copy of the current scope of work, asked the Sheriff Department to provide to us back the scope of work for us to put out a solicitation. That was done in May of last year. October, we received the first draft of the scope of work where the Sheriff Department made edits, sent it back to us. We sent it back to them for more edits. More edits came back to the county in November. The legal department got involved because we get them to review all edits that we make to any contract that goes out for RFP, IFB, RFQ. We received the information back. December, we gave it back to the Sheriff Department for a second review. It was received back to us in the beginning of December of 2022. We asked the Sheriff Department to provide to us a list of firms that they wanted us to send it to, because what we generally do with any of our solicitations, no matter how we advertise it, we want to use the department to make sure we know who all they want this proposal to go to. We also go through our database to make sure all firms who are qualified, able, and capable of providing that service gets a copy of the solicitation. The solicitation was advertised, it was received in February, it was reviewed in March, and a recommendation from procurement was given to the administrator's office in March of 2023, and that's how we got here today. So it has been a long process, a process of review where all parties were involved.
Mr. Tolbert, who's the review panel when those companies submit their qualifications or whatever services they provide?
Sure. The review panel was made up of 5 people, 4 from the Sheriff Department, 1 from under the administrators.
I've said. Thank you.
Any council members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Tolbert. Appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, I am going to disband county.
We
need to vote. I'm sorry, we do need to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Prior to going to number 8, if permissible, sir, I want to thank Ms. Durant in terms of her
judiciousness in selecting Ms. Smalls to help the Snowden community. 40 years plus that an American community did not have sewer. After 40-some-odd years. And I say that we are not a second or third world country, but Snowden must have been a second world community for them to wait this long to procure the necessary help that they need, and it's still not yet completed. So a shout out to Ms. Smalls for however you did it under the tutelage, I would say, of Ms. Durant selecting you and your person for doing so, because again, this is long overdue. I can never foresee another community as such to have waited so long. I think that was a sin, or it is a sin for a community to experience no sewer for some 40-some odd years, now 2024, with the selection of your leadership. I just want to say a shout out to you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And Mr. German, and I think Ms. Brown, I think you all need to give some accolades to Ms. Smalls and her team for assisting the community which waited and fought for so long. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Darby. Okay, next.
Middleton
item-
High. Ooh, won't hold it against you.
Next item, I'm going to disband county council for a short term for our HR meeting and turn this over to the chairman of HR, Rob Werman.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This is our Human Resources Committee meeting. Committee consists of Councilman Boykin, Councilman Honeycutt, Councilman Pryor, Chairman Sass, and myself. Only one item on the agenda. There's a need to convene an executive session to finalize some items with our employee evaluations. Do I have a motion on the floor?
We'll move executive session.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Let's go back to executive session.
Thank you.
I think she is, sir. Yes, she is. She got roots from Liberty Hill, sir.
recommendation was made tonight, number 8A. 8A is not needed. Therefore, I would call for council comments. Mr. Moody?
Just briefly, and one addition, I wanted to thank Mr. Ed Nisley on Mrs. Ham's staff. I know he was very involved in this procurement issue, and making sure we stay compliant with those is very, very important. So Ed's worked very closely with the Sheriff's Department for a number of years, so he does a fine job. So Ms. Ham, please pass along my thanks to him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Borowski. I'd just like to comment on the Holocaust resolution. Tomorrow is the first night of Passover, so it's a timely event, but I'd like to reiterate and within the meaning of that, what America has meant since the fall of Jerusalem and until the creation of the new state of Israel, no other country in the history of the world has welcomed us like America. I'd like to somehow, I brought up before, we did many resolutions in the honor of George Washington for his letter to the Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, whereas without his guidance and stuff, America as a refuge for Jews may not have ever happened. He welcomed us, and he could have, a man who, again, could have been king or emperor, refused it. We have a Republican form of government and Democratic elected officials because of his example. And I hope that we can bring that back up in some form, that we truly honor him. We have his visit to Charleston, that was in May of 1791, so we still have time in this month to do that. And we have recognitions and resolutions for many worthy things, and I still think that is worth doing in time for that upcoming event. It was county council who largely paid for the statue of George Washington in the Washington Memorial Park right near City Hall. So we have a history with it, and I think that we still have time to bring that up again before April. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Mr. Werman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing for me tonight.
Mr. Boykin? Mr. Pryor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to thank the procurement staff, Mr. Talbot and your staff, for the outline and the way y'all handle things in a professional way. I'd like to thank Ms. Ham and her team as well, and Mr. Tootin and their team. That's why it's always important to document things, so when disputes come up, you have the documentation. So, I would hope that we could work together with the sheriff, because this is not about, who did this, who did it. It's about saving people's lives and getting this thing, the service to the inmates that need the services. Because after all, whether y'all get together or not, the bill comes back to us right here, who got elected by the people. And so it's our fiduciary responsibility to make sure thing goes right. And when Mr. Lewis said to give her the tools, I think we have given her all the tools that was, in our hands. And sometimes you got to learn how to use the tools versus just having the tools. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Boykin?
Nothing from me tonight, sir.
Mr. Administrator?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Ms. Ham? No, sir. Wow. Well, I gotta say something tonight. I'm sorry. I could leave early, but I can't. I want to say that I'm really proud of our staff, of procurement, of legal, and administrator. They all worked extremely hard to get through this procurement process, and they kept us informed. I think they did a great job. I think it's really incumbent upon us. We've voted to select a new contractor, and I think that we need to have a renewed sense of teamwork between the contractor and the sheriff's department, and county council needs to be there to help. But I think that with a new contractor, that it's going to take a renewed effort, and I think that we need to work hard to have everything over at the jail go well. That means we need to have really good communication between all three parties. And to me, that's very important, and I really hope that we can do that. And I want to say also, this is my first council meeting without Mr. Engel what a person. And I miss him. And this is why we need to remember history for what happened. So thank y'all. Good evening. This meeting's adjourned.